the things that make our life more enjoyable and meaningful is reading literary pieces.
It is one way of getting to know the cultures, traditions, and practices of other people.
For that reason, we could say that literature is an art of life.
By reading literature, our mind becomes very enthusiastic.
The following are the famous and greatest literary pieces of the whole world.
To whom shall I speak today? You can speak to different people with different language and different cultures. I can speak to whoever I like. But does it really make sense? I came across with this literary piece by T. Eric Pitt months ago, and I realized that how it took place with my life, the way how I mingle with people as time goes by. This pessimistic piece taught me how to trust and taught me how to deal with different kinds of people. I never knew that this piece could turn me inside out. If you are looking for a self-seeking literary piece to read, then you found the perfect one. So how about you? To whom shall you speak today?
On Love by Khalil Gibran. Love is not all about happy moments or expecting for an happy ending. Love is also to sacrifice, to accept the imperfections of our loved one. He also emphasizes in his poem that to love is to breathe willingly and joyfully.
The Analects is one of the most influential texts in the Chinese philosophy that was compiled by the disciple of Confucius. The main goal of the Analects is to guide a person to achieve a high moral sufficiency and to strive self-improvement. The main principle of Confucianism are highlighted in the Analects. Those are benevolence, righteousness, rituals, final piety, and gentleness. Every line in the book has a hidden concept that we as readers should find for ourselves.
Haiku is a well-known form of Japanese poetry in the West. Students like writing haiku because of its brevity. Teachers find it an interesting addition to the study of poetry. With some basic background information and some hints for guided practice, the study of haiku can give students a brief glimpse into Japanese culture. Basho is the greatest master of haiku.
In historical terms, the events of the Ramayana are supposed to precede the events of the Mahabharata. Ramayana, the adventures of Lord Rama, born in human form to the battle with the demon Lord Ravan. No language can be purer, none chaster, none more beautiful, and at the same time simpler than the language in which the great poet has depicted the life of Rama.
Everybody has his burden. Have you ever wondered why this story has its title? This story talks about how grateful you are because you are a blessing from above and an instrument to let other people stand in their lives. It is a mixture of love, democracy, family, and unity. It explains that everyone should work as one to uplift our community from harshness and poverty. This is a must-read story.
Iliad and Odyssey by Homer. These epic stories are about the Mycenaean or Bronze Age ancient Greek who flourished from about 1600 to 1100 BC. This is roughly about the time Moses led the Israelites from Egypt through the time David ruled a united Jewish nation. By most accounts, Moses led the Jews out of Egypt and Troy fell somewhere around 1200 to 1300 BCE. The Odyssey, in contrast, mainly takes place outside of that common culture and describes about contact with pre-Mycenaean Mediterranean cultures. So, the Iliad describes the clash between two equally brilliant and beautiful groups of Greeks, and the Odyssey describes contact with the other, represented as monsters and witches. It relates us to the life of the different goddesses, and it shows the different trials of Odysseus that he had faced, and I'm sure that it helped you to face the trials upon reading this piece. It shows that man without God is nothing.
Divine Comedy is a rather satirical piece, as Dante Alighieri unabashedly makes reference to real people. This people is rampant with symbolism, and some of its content parallel to the things that is occurring in our society today. It is a timeless classical literary works to which no matter can be compared.
Romeo and Juliet. It is a tragedy written by famous poet William Shakespeare. It is all about two young lovers, Romeo and Juliet, whose deaths ultimately reconcile their feuding families. It is one of the most famous love stories in the whole world. In this story, we could see the real love of two young people. Amidst of all difficulties and obstacles, their love to each other remains strong and constant.
To the Man I Married. This poem is written by Angela Manalang Gloria, a Filipino woman. In this poem, we could see the love of a woman to her husband. He is her everything. We should value the importance of loving our husband. And did you know that love binds couples? We are reminded that true love is unconditional beyond time and space. It is because true love does not change over seconds, minutes, hours, days, and years. True love is something that we must never give up until the every end of our life, regardless of the hardship that we can encounter.
Sonnet 116, written by William Shakespeare and was first published in the year 1609. This sonnet teaches us that true love should not be changed for any reason. It must be stable even though there are many difficulties. Love should not become paler with time. Instead, true love is forever. True love is permanent. We have to fight for love when someone destroys it. It reminds us the song entitled Grow Old With You, because even though lovers will grow and die, as a sign of their true love, their love won't change.
Don Quixote. This novel is written by Miguel de Cervantes, published in 2 volumes a decade apart, in 1605 and 1650. It is considered as the most influential work of literature from the Spanish Golden Age and the entire Spanish literary canon. The novel gives us a lot of reflections and insights about the reality of life, like Alonso Quixana, who loves to read many of the books of chivalry, and as a result, he has lost his wits.
The Bet. This short story is written by Anton Chekhov about a banker and a young lawyer who make a bet with each other about whether the death penalty is better or worse than life in prison.
This short story is telling us the famous dictum, no man is an island. We could not live alone because we are a social being. We always need a companion in our life.
In that story, there are many moral lessons that Anton Chekhov wants to tell us. First, capital punishment is immoral because it kills life, and life is a gift of God. Life is valuable.
And don't you know that capital punishment is against natural law? Secondly, the immorality of being which involve money.
In this story, the banker attempted to kill the lawyer because he is afraid of losing 2 million amount of money. This short story is full of excitement
and adventures. The Scarlet is an 1850 romantic work of fiction in a historical setting written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It is considered to be his magnum opus. Set in 17th century Puritan Boston, Massachusetts, during the years of 1642 to 1649. It tells the story of Hester Prynne, who conceives a daughter through an adulterous affair and struggles to create a new life of repentance and dignity.
The Cask of Amontillado. This literary piece is a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, first published in November issue of Gladys Lady's book. This story is set in a nameless Italian city in unspecified years and is about the narrator's deadly revenge on a friend who he believes insulted him. The good thing in this story, it is an open-ended story. It is up for the readers to conclude it. It widens our imagination. The story teaches us what vengeance is not just. Vengeance is immoral. It should be equated with justice. In this story, we could learn that revenge will not consume us. It will lead us to nothing. In this regard, we are reminded of the importance of love and forgiveness. In this story, we have to do our best not to hurt people. We could learn about forgiveness and forget.
Africa by David Diop. It is all about his passion to the African culture. It talks about a guy who has never been in Africa, but who remains proud of the achievements of his country.
I'm Julian Zipagan. I'm Giselle Tandao. I'm Maria Leonora M. Garcia.
I'm Ethel Bangilan.
I'm Janela Camille M. Caleda.
I'm Joy Domingo.
I'm Christine Lazarte. I am Pinky Kulam.
And I'm Jean Rachel Odasco.
And we are all